Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Art of Braids podcast. I am your host, Karen Tenord, and I'm excited about today's guest. We are talking about a topic I hear about all the time, the benefits of an eco-friendly brand. And today's guest is Nkonye Mwalilu, founder of the amazing brand New Village Braid. Is a braid I use that too. But since today's topic is about the benefits of eco-friendly brand of an eco-friendly brand, who better to talk about it? So I have been braiding for I since I was 11 years old, and I used all types of hair. I mean, whatever it is out there, I name it, and you name it. But there's over the years, a lot of my clients would have like certain allergies, and then they would be like, "Oh my God, can you ACV wash it?" And I'm like, "What?" And then I had to learn that, like, what? This is something that I'm not used to, like when people have allergies and they're breaking out from hair that I used all my life, right? Like, so it's like sometimes as a braider, you might not be able to use the same hair that you used all your years with everybody, and everybody wants to use braids or wear braids, but they can't because that problem is something that is a real problem that can affect their skin, their scalp, their hair. And then in 2021, I believe, I was at an event. We are launching this new space, and my intern comes to me and she's like, "Hey, I want you to me and Nkonye," and I'm like, okay. And then Nkonye tells me about her brand, and I'm like, whoa, like not only does this brand solve that problem as far as like toxins and the allergies, and it's a non-allergenic product, it also helps the community and the environment at the same time. So it was just not just solving one problem, but it was solving multiple. And I was just like, yeah, I would love to partner. Yeah, I would love to like work with you. And so, you know what? Let me not even take all this time talking about the experiences. I'm going to introduce Nkonye. So, Nkonye, thank you so much for joining us today. Your time and your brand means the world to us. So, thank you. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Um, before we get started, I know you as much as I know you. My listeners don't, right? So I want you to share your story, as we all have stories, and tell our listeners about your background and what it is you do in your business.
Yes, thank you, first of all, for having me. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Looking forward to your listeners learning more about me. But as you mentioned, my name is Nkonye Mwalilu. I'm the founder of New Village Braid. I guess a little bit about my background. I have over 10, 15 years of experience in product development, in global business strategies, in tech, all of these spaces. So all of that I bring to the hair in the beauty world. So I've always been an advocate of the idea that when it comes to what we buy, why we buy it, how we use it, how we dispose of those things, that we're really responsible and we should be accountable for that. So when it came to New Village Braid, and I can tell you a little later about how the idea all came to be, but it's been something that's been very very personal for me. So it's more than just a business, but it's a quite a personal thing. So I'm happy to answer any more questions as it relates to just me, but I'll pause there.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm going to go with the topic at hand, which is the benefits of an eco-friendly brand. Why did you decide to make braiding business greener?
Ah, well, it started with my initial business concept, which was a hair braiding salon at the city in the city that I was in at the time. So for many different reasons, I put the braiding salon concept on hold. But the time where I was developing the concept, I started looking for, what hair brands I would carry in my shop or my salon. And the more I started to do that, the more I started to learn about all of the toxins and the danger that's in a lot of the hair that's already out on the market. I won't name any names specifically, but in terms of brands, but I started to learn about the harsh chemicals. I started to learn about the base components that are well known and associated to many cancers and adverse reactions and allergic skin reactions and all of that, and it was really fascinating to me to find out that there's not really any regulation around those harsh chemicals and components that are in braiding hair. And as we know, most braiding hair is used by predominantly Black women and children. So this started to just kind of eat at me. And then I thought, you know what? I'm putting this braid salon concept on hold, but here's another opportunity to really address an issue, address a market that is close to me, that is me. So that's really how I got into the non-toxic hypoallergenic braiding hair that we know as New Village Braids eco braiding hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This is a side note. What came up with why did you come up with the name New Village Braid?
So New Village Braid was to be the name of the salon. And I am first generation Nigerian American. And I just remember the few times, not as often as I'd like, that I had been to Nigeria as an adult, because I was born and raised in the States. But every time I would go back home, I would get my hair braided. And I just remember on the road from the main city where we flew into Lagos, we would ride out to the area called Agbo. It's not village as many people would assume it to be today, but that's close to the village, like going to the village to visit family, and that's where I'd get my hair braided. But on the way there was just like this feel that I would have, this vibe. It's kind of like that sense of being home again, even though it's a place that I did not grow up in for the majority of my life. So that when I think of village, I associate it with what isn't really a village anymore. It's more of a town, its own city, right? In terms of population and size and all of that. But then there's this, I guess, traditional or historical sense of the word village. So when I think of New Village Braid, it's like the combination of those, new village and then braid. Any braid style, styling as a whole is something that brings women and people together in our culture, at least in African American and African culture. And that notion of, hey, it takes a village to look good. It takes a village to get your hair done. Oftentimes I'd have 3, 4 people on my head at one time, right, getting those braids done. So that's kind of where the concept was born, for New Village Braid, the name New Village Braid.
Well, thank you. See, that wasn't one of the questions that I sent, but it was just kind of like, I have to ask this.
No,
Um,
that's cool.
but again, like it takes a village to raise a child. And when we start to braid, like I feel like loving braids starts usually when you're a kid,
Yes.
right? Like if you have a good experience, you're gonna love it for the rest of your
Yes.
life.
And my daughters are feeling that. Even my son, I don't braid his hair often, but there's just something about being together, the time that you're spending on that head, that's actually time to bond. And you can make whatever of the conversations as you'd like, just that idea of it being more than just styling, right?
It's building bridges and building bonds, right? As we come together, one strand alone is weak, but together it's strong.
Together. Right.
So, yeah, no. So, okay, like we're here, like in another topic, but it's still what braid means. It's about community. It's about a village. Um,
Mhm.
so thank you for that. All right, so I'm gonna have the follow-up question would be, what are some eco-friendly products you highly recommend? I know, besides, well, not
Yeah.
besides, but
Yeah, of course. Besides New Village Braid, but I know what you mean. I'm actually not very heavy when it comes up to product, whether it's product for my hair, for my skin, these kinds of things. I try to be as conscious as I can, but I'm not like, oh, I got to use this gel and this shampoo and this. Um, I would like to be more of that, but what well, I do. I say that, but I do make my own hair and skin cream, right? It's one and the same. It's just a combination of coconut oil, shea butter, aloe, maybe essential oils if I have them. But it really is just a functional thing. I don't even think of it as something that I'm going to put together and then market. But I started doing that because you do become more aware of the toxicity of some of the products out there, or we always learn something new about maybe our favorite brand of soap or favorite brand of of lotion that we grew up with, and you start to learn all the things that are in there and start to learn, maybe not all, but that, hey, some of them are actually not so great for you. So it was from that thinking that I said, you know what, I can do this myself. Coconut oil, 100%, it's pure. Shea butter, I get an auntie to send to me from Nigeria every once in a while, and I still have my stock. Here are things, household items that I can easily mix together for my skin, for my hair. So that's where that come from. I mean, the truth is, it's impossible to track and research every, ingredient in every product. So from that standpoint, I'm kind of guilty, right? But I think that the most important thing is that when you do know better, do better,
Mhm.
and that's what I push with New Village Braid. A lot of people don't realize, how toxic and how, harmful some of the braiding hair out there is, or what the ingredients are in those things. But once they start to learn and find out, you see those light bulbs starting to go off in their heads. It's like, okay, I know better now. What am I going to do with this information that I have? Not everyone switches over, right? There's a cost component, there's a familiarity component, a brand component. But many people that do start to find out do start shifting their purchasing decisions.
Right. And I've been sending my clients, I'm like, so in the past, I used to just assume everybody can use the same type of hair,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then with that, I'm like, okay, now I got an option, right? Like now I'm
Yeah.
like, do you have any allergies? And they'd be like, yeah, I'm like, say no more.
Yep.
Please go purchase from New Village Braid, or here's the hair. Let me test it out. I also have some pieces that I was able to test on a potential client. And I was just like, since you do break out, take this home and wrap it around your hand
Yeah.
and, go home. I'm pretty sure there's nothing going to happen to you,
Mhm.
but just so you can test it and be safe and sure. Like back in the days, no one was doing that, especially in the braiding
Yeah.
community.
And people just accept it. When your scalp itches a little after the braids, people just kind of took it for, okay, this is just, this is how it is. This is normal. I'll just put some oil on it, or my hair is dry, or the braider braided too tight. Maybe those are some factors, but oftentimes it's the hair. And a lot of people don't, grown adults don't realize that. I didn't know, I didn't realize that, but I also don't suffer from extreme allergic reactions, right? But there are some people that do. They have to take the hair out right away, immediately, or their skin breaks out, their back, their neck, their arms, right? So when I get those customers and hear of clients that have those issues, they try New Village Braid, eco braiding hair. It's like it is a game changer for many people. They can get braids now, right? Without all of those adverse reactions. But a question, you mentioned something. You mentioned that with your clients, you'd go back and ask them to kind of test out the hair, like wrap it around your arm or your finger. How does that work? Is that really enough for someone to be able to tell right away? Or
Maybe the skin test, like the or the strand test. I would just be like, sleep with it, right?
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
sleep with it in the morning if there's any
And
and then like, no, nothing happened to me. Like I kept it on. I almost forgot it was there. Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, cool, because that's also something that I'm learning,
yeah,
or I've learned as a
yeah,
brand, just to be mindful for my client. Like, how can I make this easier, and how can I document
yeah,
what's working? I'm pretty sure with introducing a new eco-friendly brand like New Village Braid, is like that research and the feedback is
yeah.
important.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
so I'm
Yeah.
like,
Okay. That's really interesting. And I think a lot of people, it's just a learning for many people. What I'm hoping for is that, the generation of my children, as they grow into adulthood, that what was new information to me as an adult, right, is basic information for them. Like, a big part of what I try to do with my brand is not just sell product, right? Not just, I also have the recycling component, but also provide education and information, right? As a one woman business with the right supports, right? Family, friends, and advocates. it's still hard because you're the primary person driving the business and all of the strategies and all of your intentions behind it. It's hard to get all the knowledge out and education out as you'd like. But that's one thing that's so important to me. You don't have to buy my product. You know what? If there was another brand that hit the market and was really educating people out there, I'd advocate for them too. You know, it's like, how do we change the landscape for us? We are the consumers. How do we change the landscape for Black women and any woman who uses this product, or any man, honestly, any child who uses this product? How do we change the landscape the same way that you're seeing, you know, the warning labels or the just more marketing against, or more marketing for hypoallergenic makeup and skincare and these things? How do we start to see that when it comes to Black hair care? Predominantly Black hair care. We're not seeing that in the hair. We're starting to see it pop up for the creams and the gels and hair. That's the frontier. Like, it's a what, an $8 billion industry when it comes to just hair extensions as a whole, right? Synthetic, human, natural, all of that. But that's a lot of money, you know, for an industry that is not checking for us, for an industry from a regulation standpoint,
Right.
that is not, you know, buckling down on the toxic ingredients in this product.
And they're getting away with it. That's why. So it's like, yeah, go into the beauty industry, go into the hair industry.
They are. And it's funny, we use the word they, like they at the end of the day becomes us because we vote with our dollars, right?
Right.
So it's really interesting. I know I just hijacked the rest of this,
Which
but
is fine, which is fine, which is fine. Okay, so how do you motivate a company to go green?
okay. I
How
think the
have
first,
you? Mhm.
yeah, I think the first step really is to learn your product, learn your industry, like get to know it, and then start to identify, okay, what areas can I improve on? So if I'm talking about learn your product or learn your industry, learn your business, right? From the standpoint of, from the perspective of not just your product, but your logistics, your supply chain, your packaging, your shipping, your disposal, whatever it is, right? Dissect those different pieces and components of your business, and then start to identify, okay, what are the low hanging fruit type opportunities that I can start to address today? Okay, maybe you're not ready to change your product and make it 100% vegan or whatever, you know, the thing is at the moment, but okay, maybe it's in your packaging materials, right? Are you shipping with too many paper labels? Are you using plastic wrapping when you could use paper or biodegradable um, packaging? Those are the things, those are the areas. And that's actually what I try to do with my business. Every day, if I were to make a list of every component of my business, yeah, I'm New Village Braid Eco Braiding Hair, but is everything perfect and perfectly green and perfectly? No, it's not, right? There are all these elements that many of which are out of our control, right? But by the time you decide to go into business, I believe you have a certain responsibility, and you address what you can, right? When you know better about something, you do better. So if it means, for example, I have these inserts, you know, when I get a customer places an order, I ship their hair, but in that package also includes an information card about the hair and a thank you card about how you can recycle the hair. Right now, I'm printing that on 2 different sheets of paper. Me, eco braiding hair, I didn't think to do front and back, right? So that's a change that I'll be making soon. Those are the little things we might not think it matters, but it really matters, you know, when it comes to how many people actually hold on to my cards, right? I want to get the message across. That's a part of my education, but who's just trashing it, right? Many people, I'm sure. But at some point, trash, it goes back to the earth, right? Does it actually biodegrade? If it's on the right paper, it might, right? Or if it's on that coated paper, it might not. So why not just lessen our footprint wherever we can? So short answer to your question, just learn your business and identify the areas the areas that you can actually impact with a more ecological mindset.
That's great. Like, it's like just to know that you don't have to be completely 100% eco-friendly, but as long as you're moving in the right direction so that we can live a little bit longer on a healthy
Yes.
planet, or just try to reverse the effects that we have done in the
Yes.
past.
just keeping the earth top of mind and keeping top of mind the fact that this might sound like cliche or, cheesy, but we are the earth. Like, we're literally the earth.
Yeah.
This is our ecosystem. We are a part of this ecosystem. So as long as you can keep that top of mind, I think that starts to go a long way, because then it's always on your mind. You're always thinking about, oh, well, why am I shipping with this packaging versus another? Whatever areas you can control.
Oh, okay. We're going green. We're going green. Okay, so how can a braider go green with you? Is there any partnership programs that you may have, etc.?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that question. Number one way, buy my product, right? The truth is, when someone buys into, and I try to say this just real, because when someone buys New Village Braid Eco Braiding hair, right? You're not just buying product, you're actually supporting the business and the idea behind it, right? So I have a lot of ideas in my head about what I can do with this business, with the product. There's the recycling arm that I talk about. So not only do I provide the hypoallergenic PVC-free braiding hair, but I also provide hair recycling services. And I'm only scratching the surface at this point, right? So that's another opportunity. So aside from just purchasing the hair or buying bulk or wholesale, right? Refer your clients, right? And support the wider strategy. When it comes to the recycling piece, so currently the way I have it set up is that individual customers, or anyone really, can send me any of their used braiding hair, any synthetic used braiding hair, no matter whether it was purchased from New Village Braid or another brand, you can send it to me. And then what we actually do is process the hair. I work with another partner to process the hair, break down the fibers and the filaments and into little pellets, and turn them into raw material that can be used into making new consumer products. So whether it's clothing or furniture or any textile material, like, this is a thing, right? But I'm getting piecemeal. I'm getting, one package here, one package there. I also do partner with other salons or braid businesses, and they collect hair that I pick up or they send to me. So that's kind of a one man operation right now, with all of the support from the community. But my goal is to make this a bigger operation, right? The same way that people maybe 10, 15 years ago, outside of your house or apartment, there was no recycling bin, right? Just everything went in the trash. So now there's a recycling program. How do we make a recycling program a sustainable, impactful recycling program for hair, right? So that's just something much bigger that's on the horizon. And this is where I literally mean, like, as someone is buying a product, they're buying into that idea and helping to propel that forward. It will take time, but because it starts with the mindset shift. So that's another area. And I'd say the final area is really to another thing is that I am working on a partnership program for braiders and advocates, where it's almost like an affiliate program for referrals and that type of thing, where I don't just benefit from the purchase of product from someone that's from a customer that someone has referred, but that the referrer also gets a benefit. That's still in its formative stages. I'm still exploring that, but that's one way that I'm actually looking to extend the benefit to all. So buy my product, recycle.
That's really dope. I'm like, before the whole affiliated program, I'm there like, New Village Braid. Do you know about New Village Braid? I'm like,
and I appreciate that so much. Yes.
Okay. What struggles have you faced while building this initiative?
I would say initially, just the struggle with kind of self-doubt, questioning myself. As I mentioned, most of my professional experience prior to New Village Braid has been in textiles, has been in retail and fashion and handbags and panties and bras. It's still textiles, right? It's still a consumer industry. But I didn't see it that way when I set off to start this business. I just saw hair as completely separate. Oh, well, I'm not a braider or a professional. I can braid, but I'm not a professional braider. Oh, I didn't go to cosmetology school. Maybe this isn't, what if someone asks me a question and I can't answer it or I can't back it up? Those types of things were the things that slowed me down up front. But as I learned more, I started to build more confidence. And as I moved forward, with a consumer with a consumer mindset, like, hey, I'm a consumer, so I have every right to be in this space, as opposed to I have a degree in hair braiding, when I put that to the side and say, hey, I'm a consumer first, so I know what a customer would want. When I started to move forward with that mindset, it started to become easier. I started to trust myself more. I started to, socialize the idea that, okay, I'm about to do this business, y'all. My family looked at me like I was crazy a little bit, but they're celebrating with me now, right? Because there's a need for the product, and that makes a difference. When you have a product that people need, of course, it makes it much easier than if you had to sell them on the idea, it is that much harder. So all credits to people who start those types of businesses, but there's a true need for my product. Many people don't realize they need it yet,
Right. They don't.
but there's a need. There's a need. And when they do get it, they're like, whoa, where has this been? So I struggled with the self-doubt a little bit, but that's kind of a little bit of the narrative of how I overcame. And I would say, maybe more currently, because I'm not past it, the struggle never ends, right? More currently is this idea of perfection, right? Okay, it has to be perfect. Every order I ship, the package has to be perfect. If I accidentally close the package and it's crooked, oh my gosh, I gotta get a new bag, you know, those types of things, where at the end of the day, when the customer receives that product, they're just snatching open that thing,
It's
so I had to just let it go a little bit. So those are the types of things, progress over perfection. And I'm still learning that. I'm still learning to apply it more naturally. But I know that once I overcome that, there are going to be new challenges, right? Growth challenges and those types of things that I'm bracing for at this stage.
right. New level, new devil. It's just like, okay, I'm at this new level. I have to be at this caliber. And it's just like, I
Yeah.
mean, when you start looking at these larger companies and the mistakes that they're making, I feel like it's a relief for me. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I could do that. Okay. And the funny thing is, I've worked at some of these larger companies, world-known companies and fashion brands. And I'm one of those people making the mistake and us doing a, team approval that it's okay to go out. So I had to learn to reapply that to my own business. And the truth is, I think it's a healthy sense of wanting to be perfect. It's healthy. When it starts to become unhealthy and detrimental is when it starts to slow you down. So
yeah,
that's that piece. Seriously, progress over perfection is no joke. It's real. It's real.
it's real. See, look, okay, so we're dropping facts and we're picking it up. We're picking
It's
up what you're putting down. This is um so do you have any favorite tools or resources that you've used to help you in your entrepreneurship journey?
Yes. In terms of resources, um, what was very helpful for me were just community resources. So from the time I started my business to today, I actually relocated. And that was part of the reason I put the salon concept on hold. That was a physical location, that type of thing. But in the original city I was in, Fort Wayne, Indiana, there were many community resources that were there to support small businesses, Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, minority businesses, hair business, just new businesses, right? So I used to you hear of those things and you're like, I'm not going to be one of the people that benefit, because you have all these assumptions of yourself, right? But I would say that my involvement with a few of those resources actually helped to accelerate my way forward. So these may not be very specific. It just really depends on what city you're in, what state you're in, but look it up. Start with the SBA, start with the Small Business Association, sba.org or .gov. I think it's .org. Go on there, find out, search your city or look for small business programs in your city. Google those things, just a rough Google, and just see what comes up and start tapping in, because from there, you may get grant opportunities. It may just be information opportunities or meeting up with other people or learning, connecting. You might connect with this person and they don't seem to be as fruitful to you, but they may connect you with someone else or someone else. And that's how you got to continue on the journey, right? So that's one, just the community resources. Another community resource I like to call is just the people around you, right? don't be afraid to socialize your idea. If it's a business idea, for example, that you have, don't be afraid to tell your family even. Sometimes I feel like they're the ones who scare us the most. Tell your family, tell your friends like what you're doing, even if it in its formative stages. Don't hesitate too much to say, oh, if I tell them my idea, they're going to steal it. If they were going to steal it, they would have done it already, right? It's not easy, you know? I can probably tell everyone my entire blueprint. How many people will actually go and do it? Not many, because it takes more work. It's not just the brand. It's not just what you see on the website or the social media. It takes so much more, you know? Seriously. Um, other resources, I would say start with those community ones. Google is your friend, you know? Any question you have, any doubts you have, just search it, you know, find out. And the biggest resource, honestly, is yourself. Because if everyone can give you all the support you need, but if you don't, cliche again, believe in yourself or just take action, who's going to do it for you? You
Mm.
know? I
And
hope that answers your question. I don't know if you were talking of any more specific
no, no,
resources.
no, no, you're good. And I mean, the believing yourself, I think from a young age, the song from Arthur, "Believing Yourself," and that's the way to start. I say, hey, what a wonderful time. But it's like it was
It's
trying
real.
to embed it from a
Yeah,
young age to believe in yourself. Like
yeah,
belief
yeah.
is everything.
It really is. It really is. And I apply it to, I struggle sometimes, right? I just told you about self-doubt, right? But struggling is not the problem. Getting past it is where you got to focus. So the belief in yourself, it applies to not just, you know, if you're doing your own business or your own project, but I came from the corporate world. I'm still in the corporate world, y'all. Like this is like, you have to find your balance. Like, you can be in two worlds at one time, because at the end of the day, it's all one world. It's your world, right? It's your world. So what do you make of it? And you have to find your own way to kind of pull out and generate that confidence in whatever it is that you're doing. It's not always going to be at 100%, but the first step is accepting that and knowing how to handle yourself, how to manage yourself when you're not at 100, right? You keep going. That's how you handle yourself. You keep going, keep moving forward.
I love that. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, so all right, that's great tools. I think that was a lot to take in. So definitely as braiders, again, what the products that you use determine the quality that you're putting out, who's your clients, and if you care, right? Like too many times braiders really just are braiding their hair and that's it.
Yeah.
Now we're caring. Now, as a braider, the new generation of braiders, you have to care.
You have
Like
to
it's no
care.
longer about just the money. It's about what are you doing for your clients and how are you building bonds? Like we started off as starting learning how to braid or sitting with our parents and our family
Yeah.
braiding our hair.
Yeah.
We're building bonds. That was a form of love,
Yes.
communication, community.
Yes.
And we need to get back to that. So with
We do. And you talk about the building of love. It's like, you know, many people started at home, you know, their auntie or their mom or sister braiding their hair. The minute you trust someone else on your head, like you're building trust now. So people are going to braiders expecting that, hey, there's a level of professionalism and expertise that you have that I don't have. So I'm trusting what you're doing. You know, so the same way we talk about consumers educating themselves or getting educated, braiders, there's that importance as well too. There's a responsibility, I think. So I think, just as I mentioned earlier, sometimes we just don't know. The same way a client or a consumer doesn't know, a braider might not know. But as we all collectively begin to educate ourselves, what do we do with what we now know? You got to do better and find those ways to do better. You know, I don't say every braider has to use New Village braid hair. It would be great if they did, but at least provide your clients the option and understanding that, hey, there are these different options out there. If you, just like you say, hey, if you have any allergic reactions or any skin issues, let me tell you about this thing. And then you make the choice. That's okay too, you know? So yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Okay. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing your expertise and everything like that. But before we wrap up, I
Yeah.
want to ask 3 questions just to leave on a positive high. So we got 3 questions for you.
Mhm.
Ready? Okay. What is your favorite go-to braid style and why? Is there a book that you recommend that would be great for any starting entrepreneur? And 3, are there any new products, projects, or events that you would like to give us the tea on?
Okay, you're gonna have to back up and do them one by one again now. What's the first one?
What is your favorite go-to braid style and why?
A go-to braid style for me. I recently shaved my hair.
I
So
see.
yes. So before this, I had just the sides shaved and I had my hair on the top. So the knotless, first of all, knotless anything because it just reduces the tension. It doesn't pull at your hair. It just gives you so much versatility from day one. So knotless box braids had been my go-to with that. With that cut that I had. I love them just because you can do so much with it. You can bun it up, you can wear it down, all of that stuff. My go-to for my kids, however, are just cornrows, just with no added hair extensions because they're still kids. I'm trying to teach them to appreciate their own. And just the cornrows I find last a little bit longer with the kids. And when it starts to get fuzzy, it still looks really cute. My older daughter, I have started to let her get into the extensions a little bit. And when she's doing those again, it's not the knotless braids.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the second is there a book that you recommend that would be great for any starting entrepreneur?
All right. So I'm not going to act like I'm high and mighty and doing all the right things in life. I really don't read as much as I would like to. And that's the truth. But there is one book that comes to mind, and it is by what is his name? I think it's Guy Raz. It's called How I Built This. I believe it started as a podcast on NPR, if I'm not mistaken. I love NPR. But it's called How I Built This by Guy Raz. And the book and the podcast as well, it just kind of takes you through the journey, like in a 20-30 minute time slot for like different entrepreneurs. It'll take you through a journey of some known brands today, but then it'll go back and, share more information. It's like these interviews that he does, share more information about how they started and what their challenge, just like this. So it's called How I Built This.
Okay, so
Mhm.
I got that. I'm just taking my little notes.
Yeah.
The next is, are there any products, projects, or events you would like to give us the tea on?
Well, not any events per se, but I did touch earlier on my recycling program. I'm trying to build that out a bit further. So anyone who has ideas, thoughts, questions, like you can DM me, at New Village Braid. You can, send me a message through the website. It's newvillagebraid.com. You can literally just send a message. It's me, you guys. I say we a lot. It's me, myself, and I, right?
Say we. It's okay to say we because we're manifesting more
We
people.
are, man. And by we, I mean the village. Like we are so happy that you're sharing your business with us. New Village Braid is happy. So I welcome ideas on that because it's still in its formative stages. I'm doing the recycling now, but in terms of like expanding that piece of the business, that's something that's coming up. It'll take time, as I mentioned, but I'd say that recently I started shipping internationally, so expanding. So that's exciting for me. Not an event again, but so I have that going on. And really, if there's anything coming down the pipeline, I definitely will make it known through social media, Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, as much as possible. So it's been a little bit quiet in terms of kind of the social pieces and the events and that type of thing. But definitely will keep everyone posted through social media and my website.
Ooh, great. Okay, so that goes into the segue of where I'm going to go next is, again, thank you so much. But before we wrap up, how can people find you on your website
Yeah.
and on social?
That's right. Just as I mentioned, website is www.newvillagebraid.com. It is spelled how it is said, NEWVILLAGEBRAID.com. And then on social media, just about all platforms. We're most active on Instagram, on Facebook. We also have a presence on LinkedIn, as I mentioned, on TikTok, on Twitter, at New Village Braid, just as it's spelled from the website, same as the website. So I do try to respond to everyone that messages me. I'm at the volume where I can do that right now, so I hope to keep that up for as long as possible.
Okay, so y'all here, share, comment, tag, send a friend who's
Yes,
loving y'all braids, but
yes,
they're like, they have the excuse of saying that they're allergic. There's no excuses anymore.
that's right.
So, thank you again for joining us and sharing your time with us, Nkonye. Um, that is our time. Again, for our listeners, thank you so much for listening in. It is your host, Karen Tenord, and we're sitting and talking to Nkonye of New Village Braid. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Listen, such an amazing interview. To get more info, go to kaidetres.com/podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you got a lot from today. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and show back up. Okay, see you in a bit.